Good morning, everyone. It's Sal, Stretford Post. How you all doing? And welcome to another episode of Breaking Dawn. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing fine. Thank you, everyone who's joined me this lovely Monday morning, guys. It's the start of a new week. It's time to attack the week. The international break is nearly over. That's a good thing at the end of the day, isn't it? That's a good thing. We love it. We love when the international break is over, guys. Absolutely do. We like it. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. Absolutely, guys. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're lurking in the distance, hiding in the shadows, whatever you do, guys. Also, don't forget to smash a like on the video. We need to get 50 likes for Breaking Dawn. Every single morning, guys. It's not much to ask. It's just a little twiddle with the finger, innit? I know you love twiddling your fingers, guys. So, guys, don't forget to twiddle your finger on that laptop, on that iPad, on that phone, whatever you're watching on. Don't forget to get the likes up, guys. Absolutely. And also, guys, don't forget to put your notifications on as well. Asking for a lot this morning. Guys, let's get straight into it. Let's get into the Manchester United news. It's what we're here for, isn't it? At the end of the day, now, guys, look, the Kobbie Mainoo situation and the Carlos Baleba situation. Who would have thought these will be intertwined and relate to each other? Now, guys, Kobbie Mainoo wants to leave Manchester United, but not on a permanent deal. He wants to go to Napoli so that he can play first-team football and give himself a small chance of qualifying for the World Cup squad in 2026 at the end of the season. He wants to play in the World Cup, so he believes going to Napoli will give him the best chance of going to the World Cup. And I agree. Manchester United want to hold on to Kobbie Mainoo, in particular the fact that it is the AFCON going to be happening in January, of course. Manchester United would like to keep hold of him, but at the same time, Manchester United can't be selfish and they cannot stifle the development of Kobbie Mainoo. It's very important that we give Kobbie Mainoo a chance to play first-team football. He's only played 4% of football this year so far, which is not enough, guys. It's nowhere near enough, of course, guys, if he wants to qualify for that England squad, which is a very talented England squad as well, guys. And also, guys, I believe he's good enough to play for England. I believe he's England's best midfielder if you're thinking about the different type of football he plays, if you know what I mean. That little modern day footballer, the number 8, the number 6. Is he a number 8? Is he a number 6? Is he number 8? Now, what does this mean for Carlos Baleba? Now, if Mainoo does leave Manchester United, if Mainoo does go to Napoli on loan, that means we have a huge chance of bringing in a replacement midfielder in there. We have a replacement midfielder. Now, Manchester United, Ruben Amorim, have openly said they don't really want a stopgap signing. So what does that do for Conor Gallagher? Does that mean Conor Gallagher won't be coming to Manchester United? What does that mean? What does it all mean? Basically, it means that Manchester United will be going after a player that they feel can be a player long-term. If we do get rid of any players in that midfield, we do have to replace them. They have to be replaced. Of course they do. So bringing in a player such as Carlos Baleba wouldn't be a bad idea. Although Manchester United would like to push it on, kick it down the road until the summer, because obviously there's a lot going on in regards to Carlos Baleba. Carlos Baleba is desperate to sign for Manchester United. He wants to leave Brighton and Hove Albion, and the feeling is mutual. Brighton and Hove Albion want to cash in on Carlos Baleba. They don't want anything else. They just want to cash in on Carlos Baleba. Carlos Baleba's head has been turned. There's a lots of arguments about whether we should, whether we shouldn't. The one thing that is pretty clear is that Ruben Amorim, Ineos, Barada, Wilcox, Fivell, they love Carlos Baleba, and they're not going to forget about Carlos. They're not going to go forget about it. They're not, guys. They still want him. They still want him at the football club, and they're not going to be swayed by the poor performances. Now, guys, how do you feel about that? A lot of people were saying, well, that's very bad. Then we're not learning from our mistakes of the past and blah, blah, blah. And you guys will have an absolute point here. You will have an absolute point. But I would say this. I do believe that Carlos Baleba is an incredibly talented player. I do believe that he would be a fantastic addition to our midfield. I do believe that. But obviously, it does represent a risk, and we have to be mature here. We're not little children. We have to be mature here. We have to think about things on an objective point of view. Is this player going to down tool for Man United? If push comes to shove, if adversity strikes, is he going to down tool for Manchester United? Is it going to go kerfuffle? Is it going to go tits upwards? for Manchester United and Carlos Baleba. And we have to look at this in all seriousness, guys. Absolutely. His performances on the pitch haven't been up to scratch. They haven't been up to par. And we have to look at this at the moment. Of course we do. But, of course, at the same time, we have to look at things like if Mainu does go to Napoli, Man United need a player in there to cover because we're going to have we have an extremely thin squad already. We're going to have an even more thin squad, of course, if Mainu leaves. Okay, guys. So that means who we're going to get. Who's desperate to come to Man United? Kobe Mainu is gone to Napoli. Carlos Baleba is the player that is desperate to come to Manchester United at the moment. Brighton are desperate to sell Carlos Baleba to Manchester United. And also we have to look at Anderson. We have to look at Wharton. We have to look at these players. These players would be extremely difficult to acquire in January, not in the realms of impossibility, but these two players have not openly said they want to leave, and also the club want to keep them. They've got their own agendas going on this season, of course. So we have to remember that, guys. We have to remember that it is all about what the club want as well, what Nottingham Forest want, what Crystal Palace want. We can't just look at we want Anderson, we want Walton, we want this, but it depends on what the football club want as well. Because at the end of the day, Anderson is going to cost a lot of money. Wharton will cost a lot of money, of course, guys. Absolutely. And yes, you can see from Anderson, an absolute game changer, of course. Now, if we do sign Carlos Baleba, if we do sign him, the great thing about the January transfer window is that you can bring in a player like Carlos Baleba, and by the time next season comes along, he's already fitted in. He knows the tactics. He knows the system. He's fitted in well in Manchester United, of course. So that is a good thing about it. And something that we haven't practiced enough, guys. It's something we haven't done enough over the years. You know what I mean? We haven't brought in players in January. We haven't done that enough, in my opinion. And I feel that we need to do this a little bit more, of course, guys. Absolutely. Now, a little bit of other news, guys. You may have mentioned, I may have said it a few times, but Christos Mazakitis is an 18-year-old Greek international, centre midfielder, CDM, and attacking midfielder. Quite weird to play a centre midfielder, defensive midfielder, and an attacking midfielder. A little bit weird. Usually right wing, left wing and stuff. But he is a centre midfielder, central defensive midfielder, and attacking midfielder, currently playing for Olympiacos in Greece, of course. He's valued about 15 million euros. You may have heard me speak about him a couple of times on and off. Christos Mazakitis is a highly rated Greek. I mean, when you think about Greek football, you're thinking about 2004, isn't it? When they won the Euros. Surprisingly, they won the Euros. I remember that. They played Portugal in the first game. They beat Portugal, and they ended with Portugal and beat Portugal. 1-0. And look, when I think about Greek football, they haven't really been at that stage since then. They haven't really got anywhere near that stage, of course. But players like Christos Mazakitis are players that are representing a new era for Greek football. And this player is also wanted by a number of clubs. You can imagine the clubs that want Mazakitis. Manchester United are interested in Mazakitis. Manchester United admire the versatility in Mazakitis. And he's a player that Manchester United wouldn't mind bringing in for the price, of course, which is about 15 million euros, guys, which is not going to break the bank. It would for me and you, but definitely not for Manchester United. 15 million euros for Mazakitis. A player that has been spoken about quite a few times on Stretford Post, of course, guys. Absolutely, of course. But Mazakitis, Manchester United, played up by my ear. Listen out for the name. His name is Christos Mazakitis. No, he doesn't work for EasyJet. He plays football for Olympiacos, guys. That is Mazakitis, of course. That is the player that Manchester United also won, of course, along with 150-odd other players, of course, guys. We have to remember that as well. Now, in regards to the fullback positions, Manchester United are advancing in inquiring, should I say, about the availability of Tino Livramento. Now, Tino Livramento, of course, is an England international, free caps for England, currently playing for Newcastle United. He's a 23-year-old right back, left back, and a right midfielder, of course, valued at around 14 million euros. Now, we know that Manchester United have to fix up and shore up those wing-back positions. The great thing about Livramento, obviously, is that he has Premier League experience, which is very important, and it's kind of on the peripheral of what Ineos want. They want the Premier League proven players. They want the Premier League proven players. They want the players that can slot right into that football team, of course, guys, and make a difference straight away. Yes, we are looking at young players, like I just mentioned. We are looking at young players, but Man United are also looking at ready-made players that can come into this team and be an absolute game changer straight away, of course, guys. Now, Tino Livramento, of course, he plays for Newcastle. Manchester United and Newcastle don't really have a good relationship when it comes to transfers. Of course, Andy Cole is the last big profile transfer that I remember Manchester United making from Newcastle United, of course, and it hasn't really happened since then. Manchester United and Newcastle, we don't really like each other. Well, Newcastle don't like us. That is one thing. They think we're more of a rival to them than they are to us, because at the end of the day, they don't really win anything and never did, of course, guys. So one thing I would say about Newcastle and Livramento, Manchester United are linked to Livramento. There are other teams who are also linked to Livramento, including Manchester City. They're also linked with Livramento as well. Now, it's surprising that Livramento hasn't really gone on leaps and bounds in regards to his development, hasn't really been in England squad for a while. But, you know, he is a very talented player, can play centre, can play both wing-back positions and can play on the right and midfield. So it's something that Ruben Amorim would like to look at. And it's a player that will fit into Ruben Amorim's system, Ruben Amorim's style of play, etc. We have to look at that, of course, guys. Livramento, Tino Livramento, Manchester United, 40 million euros valuation, of course, guys. Yeah. It does depend, doesn't it? It does depend on what goes on with players that are leaving the football club as well. Kobe Mainoo, Xerxes as well. What's happening with them? It's all up in the air at the moment. It's quite obvious that Ruben Amorim doesn't fancy these players, and we have to believe in Ruben Amorim and what Ruben Amorim wants, and Ruben Amorim needs to be backed. Now, I really do hope that Ruben Amorim is back this January, because I know that Liverpool, Newcastle, Man City, Chelsea are going to be improving their squad. They're going to be fixing up their squad in January, and we will just fall further and further behind. And we can't fall further behind, guys. We can't do that. Not at Manchester United. We need to build this squad. Our squad is weak. And obviously, during the AFCON as well, it is going to be even more weaker, especially on that right-hand side, which is why Manchester United are looking at the likes of Livramento to fill in that void on the right-hand side. But it does all depend on Newcastle United. Newcastle United would be very reluctant to let any of their star players go, let alone in January, considering that they're fighting for Champions League football as well, and don't want to give an upper hand to the likes of Manchester United, who could quite possibly challenge for the Champions League as well, guys. Absolutely, guys. So, yeah, that's a bit of the news coming in from Manchester United this morning, guys. We have Christoph Mazukitis, Tino Livramento, of course, and obviously Carlos Baleba continues to rumble on. The news continues to rumble on about Carlos Baleba. Will there be an end to this Carlos Baleba story, this saga, this Netflix series, which is Carlos Baleba? Because it's been going on for months, hasn't it? It's been going on for months. We just want to put an end to this old saga. Absolutely. It's getting a little bit boring. We need to get this Carlos Baleba thing sorted out. Someone needs to come out and speak about Carlos Baleba. Someone needs to come out and start saying that, are we in for him? Are we going to get him? When are we going to get him? If we're going to get him, of course, guys. Absolutely. Let me just say hello to the community. What's going on? All bars one. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Big up Redwood Tower. How you doing, my guy? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Big up Sanjay. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you, Sanj. Hope you're doing good. Good to see you again. Ephraim, good morning, Sal. Congrats to Ireland. Congratulations to Ireland. By the way, absolutely congratulations to Ireland. A monumental win against Hungary yesterday. Absolutely brilliant win against Hungary yesterday. Loving it, loving it, loving it. I mean, it must have been a right crack in Ireland last night. Absolutely. Ireland possibility to qualify for the World Cup. They're not qualified yet. Let's not forget. They've got to do a playoff, because as we know, you might play anyone in the playoffs, guys. You might play anyone. It could be drawn up against any team. So at the end of the day, they're not through yet. They've got the playoffs to come. And as we know, as I know from the past, if I scroll back, Ireland have been in the playoffs before. I remember them losing to Holland, if you remember. They've also lost out to France. Who remembers the little handball? You remember the little handball? Remember that from Thierry Henry, of course. So nothing is guaranteed at the moment, but they've done very well to get into themselves into that position, because Hungary are a very good team. Now, look, Gattuso of Italy has been speaking. Gennaro Gattuso, of course, AC Milan legend, currently managing Italy, of course, has spoken about the South American qualifiers. He said that the qualification stage is unfair. The South American qualifiers is made of 10 teams, right? There's only about 10 teams in South America anyway. So it's made of 10 teams. 6 of those teams qualify for the World Cup. 1 goes to a playoff. So in theory, 7 could quite possibly qualify for the World Cup. Is that too much? I look at it and I think, yeah, probably. It is too much for South America. I believe that they should connect the CONCACAF, the South America, and the North American teams together in one couple of groups, a few groups, and go into playoffs and that from like that. I think they need to do it like that. They need to make it a bit more difficult for the whole of America, if you know what I mean, and obviously the CONCACAF and stuff like that. They need to make it the whole of America. They need to make it a little bit more difficult to qualify for that region, because there is a very easy, it's like, you know, America, USA almost get a bye every single World Cup. You know what I mean? It's not quite fair on certain teams. You know, like the Middle East, they have to play Australia. They have to play teams like that, you know, to get into the World Cup and stuff. So it is difficult. I agree with Gattuso at one point. But at the same time, when I'm thinking about Italy, and I'm connected to Italy quite a lot, and I want Italy to do well, Italy should qualify from these groups, because the groups in Europe, some of the teams are atrocious. I'm not discounting that. I'm not saying that European football is harder. What I'm saying is that there is a lot of average teams in Europe, like Armenia, for example. I don't stat pad or gaslight in regards to these teams and people stat padding against these teams. I don't care, because these teams are not very good. You know, teams that lose 9-1, 10-0 are not very good. I would bring you a team from the National League in England to play Portugal. They would not lose 9-0. That is what I'm talking about at the end of the day. So I don't like the stat padding in regards to these teams, of course, guys, because there are a lot of poor teams in the world, in Europe. There are. Of course there is. But also, we have to look at things from a fair point of view. I think there is more competitive in Europe. There's more teams, obviously, that are most of their players play in Europe, and they're good. You know, and it is, you know, only the top two go through. Then the 5 teams in a group, only the top 2 go through. So it can be a very difficult thing. Look at the group last night between Ireland and Hungary, for example. It's difficult. You know what I mean? No, Hungary are a good team, and they're going to miss out. Hungary were getting that top 6 in the South American qualifiers. They would. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. So it is a double-edged sword, and we have to obviously look at that. But I think that there is a little bit of sour grapes in regards to obviously Gattuso. Gattuso needs to obviously concentrate on his own team. Make sure you get through the playoffs, bruv. Get into that top 2. That's what you need to do at the end of the day. It's not easy, though, getting to the top 2 and having to play a playoff, you know. But it is a 48-team World Cup, but it hasn't improved in Europe, of course. Big up, Sam. What's going on, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Good morning, Sal. Is it possible that we can get Baleba by January? It could be a possibility, Sam. But I would likely say that it depends on Kobbie Mainoo. If Kobbie Mainoo leaves, then it would be a possibility for Man United to get Kobbie Mainoo in January, because obviously Man United have to replace Kobbie Mainoo, of course. And we're going to be looking at players that want to come to Man United. Not only that, we're going to be looking at teams that want to sell their player as well. Because obviously, when we're looking at Anderson, we're looking at Wharton, in my opinion, those 2 players will be a better fit for Manchester United, in my opinion. But we can't afford them at the moment. That would have to be put to the shelf until the summer, because obviously Anderson and Wharton will be difficult to negotiate with, and considering that the teams that they're playing for are playing for things. One is European football, one is relegation and stuff. So they're going to be playing for things. Now, I would say it does depend on what happens between now and December. This is a big, big thing. We can't just splash money on Carlos Baleba willy-nilly because he's my favorite player. He has to perform well until December. So far this season, he's been atrocious. Atrocious. One of the worst midfielders in England, right? So you have to look at that fairly. And you have to look at the fact is, it's not saying that he's a bad player, but we have to look at this. The old chestnut, the mentality, the implementation, the attitude. You know what I mean? You have to look at that. And I think Man United are analysing the situation until December. And when December comes, Man United will make the decision what they're going to do with Carlos Baleba. Because at the moment, we're run by business people. We're not run by footballing people. They're going to look at things purely on a business level. They're going to look at that. When it gets to December, they're going to say, well, Carlos Baleba hasn't played well, has he? He's not really done well. We'll give you 40 million, Brighton. Brighton will go, no way, we're going to take 40 million. We're not going to take 40 million. Go, well, look at him. He's not been playing well. You've been substituting him every single week. He's been substituted at halftime. He's not playing well. Oh, but nothing. He's 40 million. That's what we're going to give you. No, we're not going to sell him. Okay, then goodbye. That's the sort of thing that can happen. Do you know what I mean? In football. Big up, my friend. Just Red Devils still buzzing after last night. Congratulations to the Irish. I love the Irish. Never a better time to be in Ireland than last night, of course, guys. It would have been lovely to be there, wouldn't it? Been an absolute crack. Big up Ireland, of course. Nature, salt of the earth. Absolutely. Parrot, the goal scoring sensation, of course, guys. Went to Holland, mashing it over there. Mr. Parrot, absolutely smashing it over there. And yeah, look, you know what? Congratulations to him. Fair play. And I wish you all the best for the playoffs. Absolutely, of course. Good morning, my friend Clint. What's going on, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Clint Haywood, hope you're doing well, my friend. Good mornings. We should get Gomez in January for Casemiro. Very good defender, hard-working midfielder. I agree. I think Gomez will be an absolutely great signing for Man United. Absolutely. And the great thing about Gomez, he's performing for Wolves. He's doing well for Wolves at the moment. And he will be a little bit more cheaper than the likes of a Carlos Baleba, for example. He'd be 35 million euros around that price, of course. And would Wolves, but the problem would be, would Wolves want to sell Gomez? Because obviously they got their own problems. They got their relegation issues at the moment as well. The relegation situation going on at Wolves. This is an issue, of course, because no one wants to lose their best players when they're in a relegation. I mean, even on a good day, teams don't want to lose their best players. But when you're in a relegation battle, of course, teams are going to be like, you know what, we can't let him go because we need him for the battle, for the fight, for the relegation. So it's going to be very difficult to acquire, of course, absolutely. Good morning, Kula. What's going on, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you, my friend. Again, of course. Sal, which players do you think we can sign in January? Now, if I'm being realistic, gun to head, if someone said to me, Sal, which players do you think Man United can sign in January? Now, I just mentioned one, João Gomez, Conor Gallagher. I think those two would be incredibly realistic if Man United are going to get it. Then you get the tier two, which I think will be a little bit more difficult. Angelo Stiller, Carlos Baleba. They will be a little bit more difficult. The two I just mentioned, which is Conor Gallagher and João Gomez, even a Ruben Neves, will be a little bit more easier to get than Angelo Stiller and a Carlos Baleba. Those two will be difficult, more difficult to get than the first two I mentioned. Now, it's great that we have contingency plans. It's great that we have players that we can look at. If we don't get that one, we can go for that one. If we don't get that one, we can go for him, etc. But one thing's for certain, guys, and I'll say this, I stress this. I will be happy if we get anyone in January of the players I've mentioned. Of the players I mentioned, every single one of those players have their own skills, have their own talents, and I will be happy with any one of those. Regardless, I will take the risk on Carlos Baleba. Okay, we get him, we buy him, let's build him in. We know his talent, let's build him into the player that we think he is at the end of the day. My prediction on what's going to happen, and I could be wrong, guys, but this is just, I'm just throwing this out there, right? I believe that Carlos Baleba will sign for Man United. You heard it here exclusive, guys. I believe that Carlos Baleba will sign for Man United. I believe in Carlos Baleba. Carlos Baleba, we believe in you. We're still Balebas. Let's not forget that. We believe in you. I believe that Carlos Baleba will sign for Manchester United. There you go, guys. I believe he will. I believe he'll pick it up, and I believe he'll sign for Man United eventually, whether that be January or whether that be summer. I think January is going to be difficult. He's at the AFCON, so it's going to be after the 21st of January that Man United could quite possibly do a deal for him. But I do believe in him. And I believe Man United will sign him, whether we agree or not. I believe that Man United have made up their mind. And I believe that Ineos are very stubborn. And I think that they're going to end up signing him. As soon as he clicks it back, as soon as he gets things clicked back into gear, I think they're going to buy him. And what they're also looking at is the fact that he wants to come to Man United. Brighton want to sell him. And Man United want to have an easier deal, of course. Absolutely. Kula, look at Baleba as a kid who had a dream, and that dream is possible now. I don't think that there is a bigger dream than Man United once you sign that contract. There's no bigger dream. I mean, many of us would give our right arm, absolutely, Kula, to play for Manchester United. Many of us dreamed about kicking the football on that hollow turf, Old Trafford, of course. Many of us did. And, look, a lot of people dream about playing. But I mean, obviously, Munoz of Crystal Palace has been talking about how his dream is to play for Man United. It's his dream to play for Man United. Right. A lot of people's dream to play for Man United. But if you want to play for Man United, let me tell you guys, if you want to play for this great football club, you've got to keep it up there, guys. You've got to keep it strong. You know, you can't be down tooling. You can't. I mean, I don't think it's down tooling. I think his head has been turned and he's not performing because, you know what, he feels like, you know what, my dream is there. I can almost touch it. I can almost taste it. But I ain't got it. And I think that's what it is. I think that's what it is with Carlos Baleba. But you've got to be strong. You've got to be strong and you've got to carry on performing because Man United will not sign you otherwise. And that is a fact. They won't. I know that for a fact. They will not sign you if you carry on underperforming until January the 1st, guys. Because if it gets to January the 1st and you've been stinking out the place for 6 months, nobody in their right mind will splash 65 million on you. They wouldn't. You have to pick up your performances. You have to do what you're doing so well last season and build up yourself. Absolutely. Good Cooler, the Casemiro of late is doing so well. It deserves a 2-year short term. It can only benefit kids like Baleba in spending 2 years. Look, I would love Casemiro to stay at Man United, but his wages are too high. Unless he takes a pay cut, Man United shouldn't be keeping players over 30 years old. And we never did that under Alex Ferguson. Only Ryan Giggs, I can think Teddy Sheringham and Ryan Giggs are the 2 players that Man United have. Yeah, he's good. Yeah, it's good if we keep him, but he's going to have to take a significant pay reduction. He's played okay this season. All right. You know what I mean? However, what I would say is that Man United need to be looking forward and not be looking at nostalgic things and stuff like that. We need to be looking forward to what's going to benefit Man United in the long term, not the short term, right? Casemiro's not been successful for Man United. He's played okay, right? He's not been successful. He's not been a serial winner. So we have to look at that as well. So, look, he's played okay this season. He's done all right, playing alongside Bruno, which is difficult. But he's played all right this season. But Man United do need to be looking at the future because I don't think Man United will bring in Baleba, bring in Wharton or bring in Anderson and have them on the bench. Do you know what I mean? For Casemiro. Likewise, I don't think Casemiro would want to be sitting on the bench as well, you know? Sal, did we sign a Greek player in our history? No, I don't think so. I think I was going to bring that into the stream a while ago. I don't think we signed a Greek player in our history. It will be a first. Bit of history there. Little bit of history, not repeated. Sam, I prefer to get a player who wants to come to United no matter where we are in the table. Yes, I agree with that. I do. Where we are in the table, I prefer a player that wants to come to United, but I prefer a player that is talented enough to come for Man United. I prefer a player that wants it up here. I want to play for Man United. Doesn't mean I can play for Man United, does it? You know, we want a player that wants to come to Man United, but also has the mental capacity and is a strong character, because that is what got us success. The Eric Cantonas, the Roy Keanes, that got us success. Not weak-minded people who, ever given little adversity, they down tool. So we got to remember that, of course. Sal, injury concern, is a good player. He is a good player. I wouldn't paint him with the same brush at the end of the day. It looks at the seriousness of his injury record, of course. So we have to look at the seriousness of his injury. Absolutely. Ephraim, congrats also to Congo. They outplayed Nigeria. Hey, they outplayed Nigeria. Oh, my goodness me. The Nigerians, not the Algerians, the Nigerians were crying yesterday. Felt sorry for them, to be honest with you. And congratulations to the DR Congo, the Democratic Republic of Congo. Congratulations. Well done. Absolutely brilliant. Not an easy team to play, Nigeria, and they have a good team as well. Big up Red Devil. Absolutely great stuff. Of course it was. Absolutely. Christian, I would like Stiller in January and switch Bruno to the right because he can do defensive and attack. And we always, big up my friend, big up Christian. Ephraim, Sal, if we sign 2 midfielders, do you keep Bruno as a rotation player? I don't think that we have to look at things realistically and objectively in regards to what Ruben Amorim wants to do. I don't think he's going to leave Bruno out of the team. I can't see how he leaves Bruno out of the team. I don't think he will. I think he loves him at number 8. And this is what I have a little bit of concern with. This is the concerns I have, obviously, with the team bringing in 2 midfielders, because obviously what Man United are going to do, they're going to keep Bruno as number 8, unless Bruno leaves. I just don't see Bruno leaving. I don't. I think if Man United get into Europe, I don't see Bruno leaving. I really don't. Absolutely. I really don't. Baleba deal has been on since the summer. Yes, it has. It will be Baleba and Anderson is in no particular order. We'll have to wait and see, of course. Samuel, Ineos should cash in on Bruno Fernandes, Diogo Dalot, Mason Mount. I agree with you, bruv, but you know what? You know, it's going to be very difficult with that, of course, and the Bruno situation is a difficult one. Of course, Dalot, yes. Shaw, yes. Mount, yes. Even Maguire, yes. There's a lot of players there that Man United need to cash in on, absolutely. I believe so as well. Absolutely. Sal, would you take Hackney in January if we can't get Gallagher games, etc.? Alex Ferguson, if it was between nobody and Gallagher, yes. Nobody and Hackney, yes. But I think there's a lot better players than him that Man United can get. We can't really risk bringing in a championship player into Man United midfield to play in Premier League when he hasn't played in the Premier League. It's a very big risk, of course. Castle will have to be our bench player. I don't think he will be, though. He wants to play for Brazil. Want to pay that cut, and I think Saudi should be the next stop. I think he will be Saudi Arabia, I think. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it will be one Bissaka effect at Congo. That was the edge. Big up, Kula. Absolutely. Big up, Ryan Bissaka, by the way. Haaland demolished Donnarumma. Yes, he did. He did, absolutely. Morning, all. Morning, Fanatic 8, absolutely. What's going on with Italy? Italy have not been the same team for 10 years. They've not been the same team. I don't know what's going on with Italy, but Italy haven't produced the caliber of players that, you can't blame Donnarumma for that, but at least Italy have won something. At least they've actually recently won things. So at the end of the day, they won, 4 World Cups, European Championships. They have nothing to moan about. They've won a lot. They've seen a lot. They've done it all. More than most international teams do. Actually think they're second, and Germany, Brazil, and Italy are the most successful teams in Europe and the world, isn't it? So they've done a lot. They've all done a lot, of course. So I don't think it really matters. Morning, Fanatic 8. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well, you legend. Hope you're doing good, my friend. Good to see you. Cooler. Gattuso, but I think they've had a lot of problems over the last few years. I think, I don't know why. They've had a few managers in there. Sacchi they had, didn't they, as well, didn't they? I mean, they have had a few managers in there. They had the Napoli manager in there, Maldini, Mancini in there. He won the Euros, to be fair. They've had a few managers in there. I just don't think they've produced the caliber of players that they used to play. I mean, you know what I'm talking about, don't you? Alessandro Del Piero, Christian Vieri, players of that ilk, Roberto Baggio, Gianfranco Zola, Donadoni, Albertini, Maldini, Pagliuca. Do we go on, guys? Costa Curta. Do we go on? And you look at Signori. You're looking at the team from 1994 and you're looking at the team now 30 years later, and you're looking at the quality of Italian football is really, really diminished, hasn't it? It has. Italy should hire Hansi Flick, dab his ass. Yeah, look, I don't know what's going on with Italy, to be honest with you. Look, I'm married to an Italian. I have connections to Napoli. I have a lot of Italian relatives and stuff like that. I want Italy to do well. But Italy have won a lot, haven't they? They've won everything. So they can't be spoiled. But not having Italy in the World Cup, I'll be honest with you guys. I know they haven't earned it. I know they're not in the World Cup. I know they're in the playoffs. I know they haven't earned it, but not having Italy in the World Cup, I think it does take something away from the World Cup. But you have to earn your corn. You have to earn your way to the World Cup, don't you? You have to earn it. And to be honest with you, I want Italy in the World Cup, but they're just not good enough. They have to do it. They haven't been to the last 2 World Cups, for goodness sake. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. Norway can give any country a game. They are brilliant. They can give them a game, but I think their group was incredibly easy. That's it. I just think. I think if they played England or they played Spain, I think they'll get cooked. That's my opinion. I do. And just like Ireland, like when England, you know what the score was when England played Ireland? You know what the score was? 5-0. 5-0. There's a difference. There's a level here. Like England and Spain are, for me, are the 2 best teams in Europe. I think they are the 2 best teams. Spain are a little bit above. Then it's England, right? And then it's France. I would go in that order. Right. And I think that those 3 teams would take some beating. I would be delighted if like, for example, England played Norway in a quarterfinal or semi-final. I'd be delighted with that. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, England pound for pound a better team, and they would give anyone a game, but England would beat them, and I think a number of teams would as well. I think Norway. They remind me of who, if I was to put them in, they remind me of Sweden in 1994. They were a good team. But you know what? To get to that level, Argentina and Brazil and England and Spain and France and Germany, we'll have to wait and see, because I don't rate that Italian team. I think anyone could beat that Italian team. I think anyone could, because what Italy were doing, Italy had to win 9-0. Italy were already out, already in the playoffs. So it was really a nothing game. What happened to the Italian conveyor belt? I don't know, bruv. I don't know what is going on with the Italian conveyor belt. Let me give you an example, guys, about football in general, right? I go to Italy a lot. People know me. I go to Italy a lot. I go to Italy. I used to go to Italy 5 times a year. I've got family in Naples and stuff like that. So I go to Italy a lot. But the difference between, I'm not just talking about Italy. I'm talking about all around the world. When I was younger, I used to go home. I used to drop my rat sack down after school, pick up a football, and I used to go to the park and play football. Nowadays, the youngsters are coming home, putting their rat sack down, sitting down on their iPhones. And I think that happens a lot in Italy at the moment. I don't think there's a lot of players coming through, right? There is talent, but there's not the talent that they want. There's an AC Milan conveyor belt of players that are coming through, i.e. Liberali, Kamada, etc., who are coming through in regards to AC Milan. But there's not many coming through like who are the ilk of that what they used to have, unfortunately. They have their generations. For the last 15 years, Italy haven't done it. Considering the amount of great players that they had in the past. I don't know why that is. I don't know. The league is not as good as it used to be, of course, but I'm sure they'll be back. I'm sure they will be back, of course. Italy centre-backs aren't as good as they used to be. They used to have the best centre-backs in the world. It used to be like, if Italy score one, you're not going to score. Give it up, absolutely. Sal, Italy do not have a brilliant strikers nowadays. I don't think anyone does. This is why Haaland stands out. For example, let me give you something. I'm going to say something very, very controversial here. Haaland, for example, would be a decent striker in the 90s. Yeah? A decent striker in the 90s, but there were many Haalands in the 90s. There were many Haalands in the 90s, let me tell you that. If Christian Vieri, Roberto Baggio, Gianfranco Zola, Signori, Costa Curta, if all these players played now, they'd be doing what Haaland did. Trust me. That's how good players used to be. Haaland's just he's the best of a shit bunch. That's it. I don't see nothing special. But it's just that he's just the best of a shit bunch. There's no strikers. When you're looking at England, let me give you an example. England used to have Stan Collymore, Robbie Fowler, Andy Cole, Alan Shearer, Teddy Sheringham, right? They used to have all those strikers there, right there. You know what I mean? Who do they have after Harry Kane? Who's there who's going to take Harry Kane's place? Who? England don't have anyone, do they? You know? I'm so happy with Ralf Rangnick doing so well for Austria after the crap he took. I mean, absolutely. He took crap from the media, and he also took crap from some of those mercenaries at our football club, including some people's boy, Marcus Rashford, of course. He took a lot of crap. Yeah, absolutely. I'm delighted for him. Absolutely, yes. Sikuru, what's going on, my friend? Are we doing well? I think we should sign Stiller and Gomez in January. Wouldn't be bad. Wouldn't be bad, my guy. I wouldn't say no to that, my friend. Absolutely. It wouldn't be bad. Dabby Zaz, what's going on? Big up. Who's the Greek Wonderkid, Sal? I keep forgetting his name, but I see him pop up in every day. Yeah, he's been going on since the summer, isn't he? Dabby Zaz. Before people mention him, of course, I mentioned him a year ago, of course. His name is Christos Mouzakitis. M-O-U-Z. I've got his name here, Akitis, Mouzakitis. Absolutely. Christos Mouzakitis. Be easier if we called him Christos, wouldn't it? Absolutely. Him and Bawadi will be great signings. Bawadi will be a great signing, but it will represent a risk. In the future, Bawadi will be a magnificent player. However, if Man United brought in Christos Mouzakitis and Bawadi, Man United would be open like a bloody, bagel, because they are new to the Premier League. Let me just tell you this. This is not France, right? This is the Premier League. He will come into England. He'll probably do well, but someone like Bawadi would have to play alongside an Anderson, Adam Wharton, someone like that who can nurture them. Do you know what I mean? I would love Bawadi at the football club. I really would. I think Man United need to make a move, but he's wanted by a lot of teams. But he shouldn't be the player that is going to go into Man United's midfield straight away. He's a player that you have to nurture. You know, let's not forget that this is the French league, like I said. And, this is not the Premier League. The Premier League is a different kettle of fish. You know, when you're looking at Declan Rice, Adam Wharton, Anderson, these midfielders are world-class midfielders. And there's teams of world-class midfielders. Bawadi eventually is going to be a 120 million pound player in the future. And you heard it here first, guys. But one thing I would say is that Man United need to sign a Bawadi. I wouldn't mind that, but also sign someone experienced, you know what I mean, to bring in so they can complement each other kind of thing. But it would be great if it happened. I think the reason behind Amram wanting Baleba now is to get into Europe, making it more possible to get deals done easier in the summer for targets, my thinking. Big up, Kula. Good to see you. Big up, Tyro. What's going on? Hope you're doing well. Big up, Tyro Gunner. Premier League is back this weekend. Finally, let's go. Absolutely. This international break, guys. This international break has been ridiculous, man. It's been ridiculous. How many more? Big up, Arman. Hope you're doing well. Good to see Arman in the house. Hope you're doing well. Alex Ferguson, what's going on? Haaland and Harry Kane are the only two real strikers about these days. Absolutely. There's been a massive drop-off in quality footballers in the last 10 years, in my opinion. I agree with Alex Ferguson here. Anyone who thinks that talent has increased, there's some people who think football's better now than in the 90s. Guys, you must be off your bloody nut. You must have been kicked by a horse or something when you're growing up, because football has regressed so much. I can talk about 100 strikers that played in the 90s and the turn of this century. These days, you've got Harry Kane, you've got Haaland. You can hear a pin drop. Who else? You can hear a pin drop. There's nobody else. Real goal scorers. Why do you think Cristiano Ronaldo still plays to 40 years old? Because there's nobody else. There's nobody else. I mean, look, you're looking at strikers, and I just believe that the era of the striker, the number 9, I think it's going to die out. I think it's going to die. I think we're going to enter the era of the false number 9. The number 10s, the number 9s are gone. The problem, we're going to enter the era of the false number 9. And I think that's what England are eventually going to do. We're going to enter the era of the false number 9. I don't think we're really getting goal scorers these days, mainly because of the formations that these kids are playing at a young age. We're more playing the 4-3-3 rather than the 4-4-2, which obviously concentrated on 2 strikers. Nowadays, it's the 4-3-3. So players are becoming more inverted strikers. They're becoming more midfielders, stroke wingers. It's not like the old days. For example, we're going to get more Embuemos rather than Harry Kanes in the future, in my opinion. As it is, Seda Sado, of course. Absolutely. Cooler. Old times when you saw Kane getting old, you would already have 16-year-old Michael Owen, making huge waves, and 18 into the New England striker today. There is no such thing happening anymore. Every country, Kula. This is what it is. Nobody's coming through. Like when Owen was getting old, Harry Kane was coming through. When Alan Shearer was getting on, we had other players coming through. Harry Kane was coming through, of course. Guys, we left out the likes of Andy Cole, Robbie Fowler at the England team, at the England squad. There was, at the end of the day, do you know what I mean? They couldn't even get in the squad. You're looking at England now and you're thinking about when Harry Kane leaves, who's going to be there? This is why I said we're going to enter into the era of the false number 9 kind of thing. It's going to be a false number 9 situation going on. Sal, would you still take Mateta as a striker? Absolutely. Absolutely. I still rate him very, very highly. Good morning, Benny. Sligo Rovers. What's going on, my friend? I hope you're doing well. Good to see you, my guy. I hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a good day so far, my friend. Hope you're delighted about the result yesterday. I don't know. Maybe you're not. Maybe you are. You've got playoff to come, of course. Big up. Mr. Benny, I hope you're doing well, my friend. I hope everything is blessed with you, of course, guys. Absolutely. Look, guys, we've got a massive few weeks coming up in regards to Man United. Massive games are coming for Man United, starting with the Everton game. Last season, we beat Everton last season by 4-0. I remember it well. I remember it very, very well. One of the few highlights and sparks that we had last season was the game against Everton. An absolutely brilliant victory from Ruben Amorim and the lads beating Everton 4-0. Everton are a different proposition these days, of course. They got Jack Grealish there and stuff. So they're a decent opposition now. They're a little bit better than it was last season. But I do think that Man United, this is an opportunity for Man United. The weeks coming up are big opportunity for Man United. We got the likes of Wolves, we got Everton, we got Bournemouth. We got these teams who I believe, some of them at home. The only difficult one is the one after Everton, which is Crystal Palace, Crystal Palace away is always going to be difficult. But Man United have got a conveyor belt of teams that we can possibly win and solidify our position in European places. And this is what we should believe in, and hopefully Man United can do it. I really hope that we can win this, of course. Kula, true Sal, you would have a selection headache for strikers decision because there were 5 top strikers who want to start. Absolutely. Stan Collymore, Robbie Fowler, Andy Cole, and you think about that. Then you got Teddy Sheringham. Then you got obviously Alan Shearer there as well. Of course, guys. The striker pool that used to come out in them days was absolutely ridiculous. I'm not even talking about Dion Dublin, another striker, Matt Letizia, another striker. You know what I mean? These strikers are absolutely phenomenal. Chris Sutton. So many strikers that can put the ball in the back of the net. But these days, we're losing that. And I think it's sad. So, look, guys, you know what? You know what I would do, right? If there's a young lad coming up, right? If there's a young kid coming up, what I would urge that kid to do, if they love football, I would urge that kid to train to be a striker. Because football, right? Football goes 360. It goes round and round, right? So right now, we haven't got great strikers. We've got 1 or 2 here and there. Haaland, Kane, yeah, great. But in general, football has lost the striker thing going on. The number 9 is dying out. The number 10, the number 9 is dying out, right? So what I would do, if I was a kid coming up, I would urge that kid, if I had a son, I would urge that kid to become a striker because that football goes around and round. And eventually the striker's going to come back. Because at the moment, we ain't got goal scorers. And we need to get more goal scorers. There's a shortage of goal scorers. Arman, how many more seasons until we challenge for major trophies again? Next season, Arman. I'm going to say it now, next season. Man United will challenge. Trust me. Remember these words, Arman. We will challenge next season. We're not out of the race this season, by the way. If we win the next... Guys, we've got a few games coming up that we can win. If we win the next 5 games, Who knows? I know it's delusional Sal hour, but if we win the next 5 games, who knows? You know? Absolutely. Ephraim, Sal, if our home form continue like this, we will make Old Trafford a fortune. Finally, it's what I've been talking about forever, Ephraim, isn't it? Make Old Trafford a fortress again. Finally. Do you know what I mean? Kula, the fixtures we have now for the next 10 matches can make United Stands shave his head twice and back to 5 in a row. Sal, why don't we start something you would do if United win? Let's say I don't play games with Man United, mate. Let me tell you something, Kula. I don't play silly little childish games with Man United. Man United's history is much more bigger than stupid idiots shaving their head or not growing their hair. And that's what he is. Man United come from death, adversity, not to make money out of not winning games in 5 games and then pretend you're doing it for charity, which you're not, because you tried to charge me to come on the channel. You know, I don't agree with it. I don't agree with silly little games. All due respect, kiddie little games. I'm a Man United fan, not a clown. You know, at the end of the day, and that's what I would say, because that's what they are, clowns. And anyone who wants to make a buck out of Man United just because we're suffering adversity can go to hell. I don't really care about them, to be honest with you, because I take this club seriously. And every single time that we're not winning a game, it goes back to this clown. You know what I mean? And that's it, you know? I watched the running man, big up yourself. And the Pep Guardiola killed football with his... Yeah. I mean, he made football boring, didn't he, at the end of the day? He really did. So I do not care if you shave his hair or not. I support United. Absolutely, Ephraim. I don't care about clowns making money, you know, at the football club. You know, learn what Man United is. That's what I would say. Understand where Man United come from. Learn about the adversity. Learn about the pain that Man United suffered to get to where we are, to elevate. The reason I'm here, the reason you're here, is because of those players, those great players there. So I wouldn't do that. Absolutely. This is why he got attacked at Old Trafford, even though I don't agree with that. But this is precisely why. You know, my thinking is if United win the next 10 matches, you buy 10 followers the home shirt. Yeah. Look, you're not even a member, mate. You're telling me to buy you something. Look, I'm reading out your comments, mate. You know what I mean? I would speak to a journalist right now. I would speak to someone very important in football. Then I'm speaking to you. You should be paying me. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, Kula. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. Imagine I didn't. Imagine I just answer super chats like the other guys. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. Yeah, look. No, I wouldn't do that. If Man United won the league, however, I probably would. But not that. No, I wouldn't do that. Absolutely not. You know, I would buy my members a shirt. Absolutely. Yeah, support the channel. And then, yeah, absolutely. I'm not here for you. I'm not here to, you know what I mean? I bring you the news and I bring you it for free. So there you go, guys. There you go. Absolutely. If Man United won the league, however, I'll buy someone a ticket to go and see Man United. There you go. How about that? And a flight. How about that? But that's when we win the league. But guys, yeah, look, there's a lot of stuff going to be happening over this next few weeks, of course. There's going to be lots of ups and downs, twists and turns, of course, in regards to Manchester United. And what I would say is that this is the place to be with Man United. This is the place to be. There's many people out there, you know, just don't trust them. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, like I said yesterday, when I talk about things and then people start talking about them months later and you know who they are, because I start talking about Bawardi 2 months ago, even before that, guys. And to be honest with you, and this is what I do. I bring you the news. I bring you it fast. I bring you it quick. I bring you it first. And to be honest with you, I will always do that, guys. And I will always bring you it and I wouldn't beg. But I want to say something, guys. I really, really appreciate all the people supporting the channel. It does help the channel go on. The people I'm talking about are the members, the people who subscribe, the people who smash a like, all those great people. But the members in particular, I just want to say thank you to everyone who continues to be a member, who continue to support the channel. I've got some fantastic material coming for this channel, guys, absolutely. In particular for the members, guys, and obviously the people sending super chats and all those people, of course. It really means a lot, and it really means a lot for the channel. Guys, I've got some big things coming, and I really appreciate every single person, of course. Fanatic 8, big up Kula, much love. I appreciate you as well, by the way. But yeah, look, you know what? I can't be making false promises. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, Fanatic 8, agreed. We should be challenging if we have been a stronger and we start the central midfield. If Ineos fixed that midfield in the summer, I think Man United would have been challenging. I really do think that. I think we would be undefeated right now. I really do believe that. I think that we're not as far as people think. I really think that, of course. Big up, Sal. The next 5 games are the true test of our improvement because we always struggle against teams we are expected to win against and dominate because the turn up in the big games. And this is a big test, LT. It's a massive test for Manchester United. This is what I'm looking at because I'm looking at the teams like Liverpool and I'm looking at Tottenham and teams like that. Yeah, we can raise our games on those teams, but it's the teams that we're expected to beat that I feel like Man United have had a problem with over the years. Obviously, the Evertons of this world, the Bournemouths, the Wolves. These are the teams we had the problem with. So it's going to be a very big test for us. I already feel like we're turning a corner, i.e. we beat Liverpool away, first time since 2016. We beat Brighton, when do we ever beat Brighton? We beat them 4-2 quite comfortably. So I think, you know what I would say is that, yeah, look, things are getting better. Let's hope they get even better. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, afterwards. Thank you, man. Good to see you, my guy. Good to see you. Elite, those days are over. We are just looking forward to now not looking back. That's the most important thing to do. But what's the most important thing? You don't look back. You have to look back when it comes to Man United. You have to. I will never discount Man United's history because I tell you one thing about it. You may not have knew who Man United was when I started supporting Man United. You know what I mean? This is the thing. Man United's history is what defines who Man United are. You know? The Busby Babes, the 1968, the relegation 1974, becoming a cup team in the 1980s, that Sir Alex Ferguson period. This is the reason we're here today. This is a current fact. You're here today because of that. And I will never discount or throw out Man United's history because it defines who we are. People travel every year to Munich to pay their respects to Manchester United. The people who fell for Man United. Not many people mention this on this channel, but on their channels, on their platforms. But I do because I'm a proper Man United fan at the end of the day. A lot of people do sacrifice themselves, so we will never forget about the past. But yeah, of course, we think forward, but we don't forget about the past. Let me just give you a little bit of advice if you want to support Man United, right? You never forget about the past of Man United. You never forget about where we came from. And if you don't know, do your research. That's what I would say. Morning, Slices of Sib. Long time no see. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. If we could sign Anderson in January, it would be huge. It'd be massive, Slices of Sib. I mean, he's the best midfielder in the country at the moment. Some may argue he's the best performing midfielder in England at the moment. There's a couple of midfielders I'm looking at the moment who've been performing incredibly well. Obviously, there is Nico Gonzalez. He's been performing really well for Man City. And there's obviously Anderson's been performing very well for Nottingham Forest. Adam Wharton is done well as usual, but he hasn't gotten to the levels yet. Obviously, been injury prone and stuff like that. But you know what I would say is that Anderson is an absolute game changer. If Man United managed to sign Anderson in January, I'll be doing cartwheels, guys. I will be doing cartwheels all over the bloody shebang. I would be, absolutely. It would be absolutely incredible. I would love it. It would be great. Will we do it though? Highly unlikely. Anderson can play both rows anyway. Yeah, he's a modern-day football Slices of Sib. He's a modern-day footballer. He's a number 6 primarily, but he can do that number 8. The thing I love about Anderson is so versatile. He does remind me of Carrick. He does. He reminds me of the way he passes the ball, the way he can retrieve. He's a destroyer. He can bring the ball forward. He can score. He's powerful. He's controlled. There's everything about Anderson. And when people are talking about great midfielders of these days, if they don't mention Anderson, I don't know what to believe anymore because Anderson has been phenomenal in the best league in the world at a team that is not doing well, by the way, which is a lot harder to do than playing for Man City or playing for Arsenal or something like that. It's a lot harder to do well at a team like Nottingham Forest than to play at a team like Man City and to do at an Arsenal. He's playing well at Nottingham Forest. That's the thing, at Nottingham Forest. You know? And this is why he's so good. This is why I imagine he played for Man United. It'd be absolutely perfect for Man United. I do think Man United should fight tooth and nail for Anderson. I think we should really battle and get him because there are going to be a lot of pretenders to his throne, so to speak, to get him. They're definitely going to be in. The Liverpools, the Man Cities, the Arsenals are going to be in for Anderson. Don't worry about that. They will be. So we got to make sure that we solidify a deal with Nottingham Forest and try and get him over the line. He should be a priority for me. I think he's the best midfielder in England at the moment. I think he's even going to overtake Rice. Sorry, guys, but I think so. I think his ceiling is higher. There's a lot more strings to his bow. And I think he's going to end up, becoming a world-class player. Now, guys, I heard something really ridiculous. I always mention something ridiculous every show, guys, but I heard something very ridiculous this week. You know what I heard? I heard that Declan Rice is a better free kick taker and set piece taker than David Beckham. I couldn't believe my ears. This is Arsenal fans. You know what? When I'm getting to the period of thing, when I'm getting to that stage of where I like Arsenal are a good team. They're playing good football. They're really good. They're controlled and blah, blah, blah. They always give me something to dislike them again. They always give me something to say, listen, these guys, my goodness me, absolute disgusting opinions. Disgusting opinions. David Beckham is one of the greatest free kick set piece takers of all time. And because Declan Rice scores one decent free kick, all of a sudden, he's better than Beckham. And then I'm looking at these Arsenal fans, I'm thinking to myself, are they absolute delusions of grandeur? Delusions of ganja and grandeur. Absolutely. And then I think, you know what? F Arsenal, man. F Arsenal, man. Every single time they have to bring down, the legends of the football game, the true legends of the football game. They have to bring them down, especially the Man United legends. They have to bring them down. And that is what annoys me about Arsenal fans. Recency biased. That's what it is. Recency biased. Drives me absolutely mad. Absolutely. Cooler, problem is we still go missing in games, especially in the second half. And 20 minutes, 30 minutes, of course. Slices of Sib. He is open to United as well. We really need to get the main midfielder in January, though. We are pushing. I think of course, he would love to come to Man United. Slices of Sib. I think he would love to come to Man United. Who wouldn't? Some wouldn't, but he would love to come to Man United. I would love him at Man United. It'd be an absolute absolute game changer. Absolutely, Slices of Sib. You know it, innit? You know it. Sal, spot on. We have to appreciate our history. Yeah, look, we never ever discount our history, ever. And I would always say that when people say, "Oh, here's the granddads talking," here's this, is that we define what football is. There'd be no platforms if it wasn't for Manchester United, guys. All these big platforms, there'd be none of them if it wasn't for Man United. Let me just tell you that right now. All right, absolutely. United 2, Everton 0. I feel like a video printer. Cooler. United 2, Everton 0. Crystal Palace 1, United 3. United 3, West Ham 0. Wolves 0, United 3. United 3, Bournemouth 1. If that happens, Cooler, if that happens, I'm going to scroll back to this stream and I will cut off my eyebrows and I will cut off my hair in front of the world to see if those scores come correct. I'm not talking about if we win or lose. I'm talking about those scores. If you get it 100% right. No, I won't do that, actually. But you know what? It'd be amazing. Sal, he cannot lace David Beckham's boots. A lot of people can't. David Beckham's one of the greatest free kick takers, set piece takers of all time. And he didn't do it in the one-off games. He did it in huge games. He qualified England for a World Cup with his foot. You know what I mean? Bent it in the top corner. The amount of assists. You look at the treble season. Just look at the treble season. Just look at the treble season. Just look at it. The amount of assists that came for David Beckham. For me, David Beckham was the player of the year and should have won the Ballon d'Or in the treble season. And the reason I say that as well, David Beckham came from adversity, the 1998 World Cup when he was sent off, to winning a treble the next year and becoming one of Man United's best players. And with all those assists and everything. I would never, these people, they're just, no. You've got a player like Declan Rice. What have you achieved, Declan Rice? Okay, mate. What have you achieved, man? You're the greatest player ever, right? What have you achieved? What have you won? I can tell you what David Beckham has won right now. You know what I mean? These people just need to calm down. Calm down. That's what they need to do. Absolutely. Slices of Sib. I've always hated Arsenal. They are scum. I mean, the thing is, the football club are a good club, a great football club. As a football club, right? The club. The fans are scum. I'm talking now, guys. I'm sorry. The fans are scum. When you come out with opinions like that on big platforms, polluting the masses with your absolute diarrhea opinion, that is when I get fed up. Because at the end of the day, David Beckham has won it all, seen a lot, what they can only dream of. Right? David Beckham is respected by every single player that has played in history who's still alive as a set-piece king. Come on. David Beckham's a legend, man. And people just need to calm down on the comparisons, you know, especially Man United comparisons. Slice of Sip, big up GK, Munoz, we need him, Hernandez on the left wing back, big up my friend, hope you're doing well, big up Jura, how you doing my friend, hope you're doing good, of course, absolutely. Oh man, we have to try and win every game, bro, we'll try it, oh man, hopefully we do, my guy, absolutely. I am waiting for a movie, Bend It Like Rice, I think, listen, I'll definitely shave off my hair and eyebrows if that ever happened, absolutely, Bend It Like Rice. They made a movie on David Beckham's free kicks. And people want to talk about Declan Rice. I think he's the greatest free kick taker of all time. It's like when they put Bergkamp ahead of Cantona. You know, Adams ahead of bloody Rio Ferdinand and Vidic. It's ridiculous. Nemanja Vidic won the Player of the Season, Premier League Player of the Season twice, right? How many times does Nemanja Vidic get in the top 11 of all time in regards to defense? All right, they talk about Rio Ferdinand, that's one thing. But Nemanja Vidic won the Player of the Season, Player of the Season, voted by the players twice as a defender. The first time that's ever happened. Nemanja Vidic. And no one talks about Nemanja Vidic. No one wants to talk about Nemanja Vidic. They want to talk about Ferdinand. All right, he's a great Man United player, world class. But they want to talk about Adams. They want to talk about Keown. They want to talk about Terry. Who won 2 Players of the Season? Terry or Nemanja Vidic? Nemanja, whoa, he comes from Serbia, he effing murder, absolutely. 2 times Player of the Season from defense, and you want to just ignore players like Nemanja Vidic. You don't want to talk about players like Nemanja Vidic. Nemanja Vidic was the man, and the thing is, that it annoys me because no one mentions him, absolutely. No one wants to mention Vidic. No one wants to talk about Vidic. I never hear anyone. 2 times Player of the Season. 2 times. Short-term memory syndrome. That's what it is at the end of the day. They think Rio Ferdinand, because Rio Ferdinand, all right, I love Rio Ferdinand, he's a great Man United player, but because he's, yeah, bruv, you know what I mean, bruv. That's what he is. That's why they love him. But his Vidic was head and shoulders. Let me tell you that. And I'm telling you right now, look, I love both of them. Absolutely. It's true. Absolutely, guys. I had no idea Rice was Jewish. I didn't know, mate. I didn't know. I mean, well, I do know about because of one thing, but I'm not going to say that on here because that would be bad. But guys, I want to thank everyone for your lovely messages and stuff. Really appreciate it. Hey, Michael. Baleba is the midfield for me. Big up, Michael. Hope you're doing well. Good. Welcome to the stream, my guy. Hope you're doing well. Yeah. Muslim, Christian, Jewish. We love you all, man. Bring it on. We love you all. This is Stretford Post. It's all about the love. It's all about the love, guys. Absolute beast when he's on form. When he's on form, that's the key, though, isn't it? When he's on form. It's been 6 months, no form. Mentality. That is a big thing. You know what I mean? Mentality, implementation, professionalism. Very important. Especially at a team like Man United. Guys, I want to thank everyone for joining me today. I really appreciate you. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new. Guys, please don't forget to smash a like on the video. Please don't forget to put your notifications on as well. I will be back later on for Chatterboxer, of course. I might be on another channel as well. So play that by ear. I put a message on my YouTube. I put a little post on my YouTube. Should I be on anyone else's channel or anything like that, guys? I really appreciate you. You're absolute legend. Big up everyone. And don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget. Please, guys, smash a like. Smash a like, guys, to get 50 likes by the end of today, guys. Absolutely. Have a great day, great night, great evening, wherever you are in the world. I'm Sal Warner. This is Stretford Post, and I shall see you later on, of course, guys. Wherever I am, I will be there. I'm like, what's he, Joe Hendry? Whenever you mention me, I'll be there, guys. Take it easy, guys. Peace.